are some of the greatest challenges that business owners face today in finding talent?
I think we touched on it, right? They're not thinking long-term, right? But the biggest issue in finding talent today, we've kind of gotten complacent in this mindset of how you recruit. And so people think that you can write a little posting and put it out on a job board, and then you sit back and you wait for the right person to find you. Okay.
Absolutely. That's what happens.
That doesn't work. It will not work in this market today, and it probably won't work in the future. Recruiting is not a passive activity. It's just not. Finding talent, looking for talent is, you really need to be proactive about this. And you have to go out and look where the people are and cast a wide net in order to be able to, especially small, mid-sized organizations that don't have a defined brand, that people don't know who you are. So again, it is a lot of work up front. I think the other issue in finding talent today is we haven't defined our cultures internally. So it's very hard to hire if you don't know who you are, if your core values are not intact and you haven't decided, how are you making hiring decisions to bring the right people into your organization? So I think that, owners really need to think about being, or, leaders need to be thinking about being proactive, making sure that they're fishing in all the right ponds, and they have to be thinking long-term here.
Absolutely. So it's like fishing in the right ponds. And like you said, with your culture, that's also kind of bait, if you will, because people will be attracted to the right core values and the right culture. But if you don't know what that is, and again, I think especially with millennials, that's important to them. And I won't lump, it's not all the same exact core values that are important to everybody, but they're looking for that.
Right.
And I think you're right. So many organizations, they bring in people very passively, like you said, and then all they do is they ask them questions just based on their resume. So how did you do? Tell me about this specific skill set. But there's no questions that they're really asking to get to know the person on that core value level. And then they bring them in and they can't figure out why they've got a square peg in a round hole. So I know you're going to make sure that those things are defined, that you're really finding not just this technical skill set, but those attitudes, aptitudes, all that personality wise, it also fits. And that's critical in a small business. Hands down, no doubt about it. It's got to be done.
Well, and I think you just touched on, a really important point there. People are not their resumes, right? Oh. They just are not. The things that are important to us really don't show up on a resume. Okay. Absolutely. That's just kind of a historical account of who someone, what their technical skills happen to be.
Right.
But if in the hiring process, you haven't first considered how well someone fits in your organization and their attitude, it really doesn't matter what their skill sets are.
Right.
And how can you define how well someone fits in your organization if you don't know what those core values are? Okay, so again, the whole thing kind of goes together. And I think that that's mostly where people get lost. They don't understand that hiring starts before the hiring starts. Hiring starts way over here, right? Defining our cultures, who we are, so that we can then go out and fish, find, look for the right people. And then we've got the next step of the process, right? Which is which we'll probably talk about.
Yeah.
How do you bring them in?
How do you bring them in? Right.
Right. And retain them. So it all, our employees are our greatest assets. We say that all the time.
Yep.
It just rolls off people's tongue. But but I sometimes wonder if they really think through what that really means
Right.
and the investment that it takes. But if you make the investment, the rewards are huge.
That's absolutely right.
Because if you hire someone and you're paying them X or you're offering X, and what you're, and you're not doing everything in your power to help successfully ensure that that person has everything that they need to do the work and be engaged in your organization, then you lose from day one.
Exactly. And it
It's
costs,
costing you money.
and it costs probably, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, and your time and all of that. Yeah, core values and culture are one of the first things I work on with new clients. When they don't have that defined, because it rolls through not only in recruiting, but in everything they do. So I think that's absolutely critical.
Yeah, the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics says that the cost of turnover is anywhere from 100 to 200% above your salary cost. So,
Wow.
that's just kind of their, so again, those are good, for people who need an absolute dollar figure.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, figure that out. Okay.
Yeah.